Work hard for what you want in life.
You work hard for what you want in life.
That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're going to do.
That your word is your bond, and you do what you say.
That you treat people with dignity and respect.
That you treat people with respect.
Reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard.
The strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
Work hard.
Work hard.
Work hard.
Work hard.
Work hard. Work hard. Work hard.
Hey guys, I'm Tatum.
And this your girl Milan.
And welcome to episode 22 of the Black Girl Boss Podcast. Woo, 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 woo.
22 Savage, ayy.
Yes. So why I looked up 22 Savage when I was trying to figure out if him and 21 Savage is the same person. His name is MacArthur Johnson. Is that like the classiest name I've ever heard?
MacArthur Johnson?
Yes.
I will forever and a day now found him. Now I have no respect for his savageness with a name like MacArthur. It's like he had to prove him
savage.
Yeah, like it's like he had to make himself feel superior by adding savage because he got a corny name like that. But you know what? Who am I to judge this man by his name?
MacArthur. Hilarious.
But there's more than just like 21 Savage, 22 Savage. There's like the 23, 24, and like the 26 and 28 Savage from what I looked up on Google.
At some point, you should be too old to be a savage. Like, it's not cute anymore. It's not cute ever, but it's really not cute at like 28.
Hey, listen, if they're putting money in their pockets, if they like it, I love it.
Well, I just Googled 28 Savage, and it says 28 Savage, ain't no 27. And this is a 22 Savage diss song on YouTube. What is going on?
Listen, that's that. The savage life is making the money. Apparently. Huh?
That is ridiculous.
No, seriously. But nonetheless, since we are talking about money and savages, we had a money savage, a tax savage guru who will be joining us on the show today. And she is my friend, my accountant, my soror of the amazing. I'm trying to think of a better word than amazing, but it's just the only sorority, the only way to go. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I mean, just need I say anything else besides the first and the finest? But look, I won't get into that spill because we are talking about money and taxes today. But it's Dana Marie. She's the owner and accountant at Distinct Business Management. And Distinct Business Management is a firm that specializes in creative entrepreneurs and individual talent. So you need your taxes, you need your money right. Definitely come to Dana because she's definitely gotten me right ever since our time in working with each other, and I'm super, super grateful to have her, and I know Tatum and I are super excited to have her on the show, especially since we are doing our master series where we are giving you guys tools and essentials and gems to be successful in your business outside of the things that Google will tell you or YouTube will tell you. So, Dana, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for being here. We're so excited to talk to you about money and taxes because I'm not afraid of anybody but God and the IRS, and I want no beef with the IRS. So, and I want to make sure that all of our new and aspiring business owners that listen to the show really understand how important taxes are. So, where I want to start is the business structure. So these days, having an LLC, a limited liability company, is the most popular business structure, and in my opinion, it's because of the tax benefits. So can you speak to us a little bit on how beneficial an LLC is as far as taxes go, and why is it seemingly the most attractive business structure right now?
Okay, to keep things short and sweet, because, you know, with taxes, you can, like, ramble on for hours. LLCs are the most attractive because you aren't getting taxed twice.
Right.
With corporations, you would file, like, 1120, and essentially, like, you're paying taxes on your own income and taxes on, like, your business income. With the LLC, you'll file that 1065 for, like, a partnership return, and it becomes what you like to call pass-through. You have like a pass-through entity. And what that is like once you file that 1065, then you get a K-1 and you file that on your own personal return. So it just makes the whole tax process easier. And again, like I said, like you aren't getting taxed twice, which is what most young entrepreneurs would love to avoid. Because who wants to pay the IRS twice? Nobody.
Right, exactly. So to clarify, so say what's a good example? So say I'm paying myself, let's keep it simple, $100 a month, right? So are you saying that I don't have to file or I don't get taxed on that $100 a month? I only get taxed on whatever my business income is?
You're saying you're paying yourself as in you're an employee? Or
right.
You're like okay. If you put that on like your own company, like on like payroll expenses on your own company books, long story short, like you essentially would pay the taxes on that when you file your return on your 1065.
Okay.
So you're not. It wouldn't be like I would be paying. Yeah, like I wouldn't be paying like my income taxes on that $100, and then going around and paying taxes to the IRS for my business on that $100. You only be paying the tax on that $100 one time, which is what you really. That's the goal.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Yes.
So then, for the people who are listening, and let's say they have a business, they're not necessarily paying themselves yet as an employee, but they want to pay themselves one day. What would you suggest is the best way that they go about it? I know with LLCs, it kind of leaves a wiggle room for people to be able to, you can just transfer your $100 to yourself, or you can actually have yourself as an employee. So what are some of the pros and cons of each type of method when it comes to paying yourself?
Okay. First, I will say that it depends on the size of your company. That's a really key factor, because I have some clients who like they pay a lot of people. They have a lot of people on their actual they have substantial amount of actual employees, and they already have like ADP set up, and they're like actually paying them direct deposits. And in that instance, I think it would be a lot easier just to put yourself on payroll, because you don't have to worry about filing your quarterly taxes. You don't have to worry about keeping tracks of when you pull the draw or when you paid yourself this amount. It just keeps things a lot simpler. And from the tax aspect of it, it's concrete. Like, for sure, like, okay, I'm paying this amount in the self-employment taxes. I'm paying blah, Medicaid, whatever state you live in. You just know everything is going to the right place at the right time, and it's no discrepancies. But if you're on a smaller scale, I think it depends on your individual situations, but it may be easier for you in how you know your company, you know how much cash and money you're bringing in. So it may be easier to pay yourself like once every 2 months or once every 6 months and handle it and keep records that way. But that kind of question, it really depends on the company itself, because every company is different. Everybody has different sizes. You have different amount of cash flow and income coming in, and it just varies.
So for the person who is just starting out, let's say, they're on the smaller scale, of course, because they just started their business. They still have the flexibility, though, to go from the just transferring the money to themselves to actually putting themselves as an employee. They do have that flexibility, right?
Yeah.
For them to be able to change it up as their business grows.
As opposed to somebody who you reached a point where you have 10 people on payroll. And it's like, that's when things transfer too. I feel like a lot of business owners, your company's your baby. And when you start hiring other people, like, you become their boss. So you have to look out for your employees' well-being as well. So some CEOs pay themselves last because they want to pay their employees first. So if you have that aspect of it, you may put yourself on payroll, or, like you said before, like kind of teeter-totter on that line. Right.
I totally get it. So for the people who this is still going over their head a little bit, and they're like scratching their head, like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about right now.
I know, it could be a lot.
Right. And so that's why, and I think I purposely wanted to start this conversation this way because there are so many different nuances to accounting and tax and stuff like that. And we're starting our businesses and our particular expertise And we don't know the different rules or laws and things like that. So I wanted to make this point now of how important it is to have an accountant when you're a small business owner or you're an entrepreneur, even if you're just starting your business. Like, it's so important to have an accountant and to have somebody who is just advising you on the right things to do. So you're not that person who ends up making all this money or making however much amount of money, and the IRS is just taking it all from you because you owe so much in back taxes. Like, we see so many celebrities who are seemingly so successful, but they got to file bankruptcy because they weren't doing what they needed to do or hiring the right people when it came to their finances. So then I wanted to ask you, have you ever been in a situation where you're working with an entrepreneur or a small business and you kind of have to clean up some bad tax mistakes?
Yes, I will say the number one thing when it comes to cleaning up that I found personally is the bookkeeping aspect. And a lot of young entrepreneurs, they don't understand that your bookkeeping and your records and that tax bill go hand in hand. The better records that you keep, like, throughout the year, like, I spent $100 here for these business cards. I spent $250 for this marketing event. Like, things like that. The more detailed and accurate records that you keep, it helps at the end of the year when it comes to your taxes, when you want to take these deductions, when you want to actually see kind of where you stand and see, like, how much money you actually spent throughout the year. So just to bring it back, the record keeping is what I see that I have to clean up the most, because you can't file a return with zero record. You just can't do it. And if you do, like, you're screwed. It won't end well. So that's the number one thing.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's a perfect segue into what I wanted to talk about next, which is that bookkeeping aspect. So a lot of entrepreneurs, when they first start their businesses, and I did the same thing until I learned to do otherwise, was they pay out their own account. So when I registered my LLC, the first thing I did was pay for it from my own personal bank account. And then, but once I got my EIN number, I went and opened up a business bank account and then switched over to handling everything that way. So for people who, and this is, I think, most popular with side hustlers, so people who, let's say, are doing not taxes, but let's say they're doing marketing on the side. And so they have a business, but they're more so just getting PayPal invoices sent directly into whatever bank they use for everything else. When do you think is the right time to separate the business and the personal? And for those who have been going for however amount of time and haven't separated them yet, how can they go back and get more organized as far as what was a business expense and what was a personal expense?
Okay, number one, the first question, day one. Everything will run a lot smoother if you separate your money from your business money, because once things like intertwine, it's like extremely hard to separate the two. Because let's just say, like, if you use your debit card and I'm running around running errands for me, my business, everything else, things just, get lost in the sauce. Mm-hmm. And to save yourself on that headache, it's a lot easier just to open that account day one. All of the money, like you say, I'm glad you brought up PayPal, because PayPal is really easy and everybody uses it. But like you said, a lot of people just throw everything into that one checking account for themselves, their company. And you see, like, from my aspect of it, if I go in, I'm trying to clean up your books and see where money went. Like, somebody gave you $175 and you have all these other charges that you went and spent $200 at the nail salon and $100 here and like $75 here. Like, it's just a mess. It's like a really, really big mess. And to save money on your end, because if you come to someone to clean and organize your books up, they're going to charge you more if they're in complete shambles. Mm-hmm. Like, they're going to look at you like, okay, so what exactly are you doing? Like, why are you so organized about the clock? But yeah, like day one, separate it all on day one. It will make everything so much easier. I understand, like, it's hard. Like, everybody's young, we're hustling, we're grinding, everybody trying to, get the entrepreneurship up. Like, everybody's trying to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And being organized and just keeping things separated I just can't emphasize it enough as to how much it'll be a lifesaver for you in the end. And maybe you have to make the sacrifices that may be just hard to do, but it's extremely, extremely necessary. Extremely necessary. Because, can you repeat the second question? Sorry.
Yeah, so no problem. So for the person who maybe didn't start off day one keeping them separated, and let's say they're trying to go from being a side hustler to being a full-time entrepreneur, how do they go back and clean up that business versus personal expenses?
Yeah, it kind of ties into what I was saying earlier. Like, it becomes like this, just everything's in one. And for someone who you were doing it for a while, I would honestly just say take your bank statements, print everything out, and literally go line by line. Mm-hmm. And you can use the letter B, P for personal, and just go line by line. Try to do everything to the best of your own ability. Go into your emails, and they send you like if you order stuff, you get like confirmation emails and all that. Just try your best to just sit down, take a step back, and just put everything in a pot. And anything that you can't put into a pot, push it to the side for now. Mm-hmm. And you may people out there miscellaneous, like you're really not sure. These are your, unsureties, uncertainties, until you can actually figure it out. But I think that's the best way to go about it, because you don't want to just say like forget it. And a lot of people seem to do that. Once you kind of like get so far behind, it's so easy to be like, man, whatever, forget that. Like I don't feel like doing that. Like it's too much. I can't be doing it. But like just sit down and just take that step.
Yep, and for you guys that's listening, literally go into the online portal for whatever your bank is where you were charging both, and everybody gets bank statements, and just set the time limit, let's say from January 1st till today, of line by line, like she said, everything that you spent money on, and get organized that way. And to be honest, I would say sit down and do it and feel how painful that is, so that you don't make a mistake again.
Because it's not fun. It's not fun. Also, if just say January to now is too long, you can do it by month. Mm-hmm. Break it down, like do it by January, February, March, to kind of get in the flow. Because once you get a process when it comes to your bookkeeping and record keeping, if you don't have someone that kind of helps you out, it makes the process a lot easier, because you have to practice with it. You have to keep doing it so you can kind of see the benefit as in the why of the whole bookkeeping aspect of your business.
Right.
Because everybody like money. So everybody wants to see the money come in and where it's going.
Absolutely. And where it's going too much. So So I think another great thing is that because we're in such a technology-driven society, there are like really good apps and resources for you to be able to organize your bookkeeping. So for all of y'all that's like, what in the world? I'm not trying to be organizing receipts and going through like this seems crazy. But for y'all that are getting discouraged a little bit, there are things like QuickBooks and FreshBooks, and I personally love QuickBooks because I can just take a picture of my receipt. It goes in there. I can throw the thing away and go about my business. So have you used both QuickBooks and FreshBooks, or do you prefer one or the other?
Okay, I like FreshBooks. I know some people who use I like FreshBooks and QuickBooks. QuickBooks is more I want to say it's the big dog. Mm-hmm. Like it's the easiest to use, it's the most popular, but it can be kind of pricey. But QuickBooks is good. Also, just to scale it down, Google Docs and the Excel feature in Google Docs can be your friend if you're just starting out. Mm-hmm. Because some people, you don't have that money to go out and pay for QuickBooks. But just a running list in Excel and some formulas can honestly do the job as to when you're starting.
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, like just some people they think like, oh, I have to go out here and like learn this software. Because honestly, if you have no idea as to any basics of accounting, QuickBooks can be like, what is this? Like it can be really, really overwhelming. And that's the number one thing I hear. Like they're like, I don't get this. Like all these softwares, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm here, my gift is my service. Like, I can sew you some hair, or I can give you this branding guide, but, you know, accounting just ain't my thing. And if you're one of those people, I really just say, like, as a starting point, Excel can be your best friend, and for the most part, it's free 99. And who doesn't like free? Just to keep, okay, like the tabs, like, I'm telling you, like, do not underestimate the power of an Excel workbook, because my 9 to 5, I work for a public accounting firm, and I have come across, like, big companies who are using Excel work papers. You would be surprised. It's like the basis. Like, you know, Excel can get real funky. You can do a lot with Excel. So yeah, for the ones, you know, just starting out, that may be all you need.
Yeah, so for all of you guys who thought that you were never going to have to use Excel in real life and that your school is doing too much, you actually learned something that you can apply to entrepreneurship. Yes, and if you feel like me, like, if I love Excel, but, you know, Excel has a lot of hidden features and all, like I said, it's funky. You can literally Google, like, any Excel hack, trick, function, like, whatever you want to do, just type it in Google, and it will literally pop right up. Okay. Step-by-step guide. And I'm a Googler. Like, I Google anything. but as, like, an actual, go back to what you were saying about an actual, like, application software, QuickBooks is perfect. Because look what you said about that app and taking pictures of the receipts is a life-changing experience. The mileage tracker is everything. Yes. It's just so intuitive. I guess it's why it's kind of like their name or whatever. Like, it's just anything you think of, you can do on QuickBooks. Exactly. And for the taxes, you can take the QuickBooks, all your information, and, like, take it right over to the tax side and do a return. Perfect. Yep. Exactly. So I want to switch gears for a second and talk about pricing. And the reason I want to talk about pricing is because a big question for entrepreneurs is, how much do I charge for certain things? And I believe that all of your pricing should include how much it costs you to produce something, as well as the taxes. And so let's say, I know in Maryland there's like a 6% sales tax. So if I had to create a product, I would base my pricing off of how much it took me to create the product. So let's say I'm making juice, whatever, how much each of the juices cost, or how much my materials cost, all of that, how much my time costs to put there. And then I would raise my price to whatever I'm comfortable with, but I will also include taxes in that. So in essence, my pricing is paying for my tax liability too. That's just the way I would do it, to be smarter about my pricing. So a lot of entrepreneurs don't know that because they don't know what taxes they have to pay. So what are some taxes that's included in entrepreneurship, so whether it be sales tax, self-employment tax, or whatever, that we should be cognizant of? Yes. All of those taxes that you just mentioned, they are included. But when it comes to your pricing, I think sales tax is the most important. If you're providing a service, and if you feel like your clientele is comfortable with it, I would add a line for the sales tax. In my, like, specifically on my invoices, because a lot of young entrepreneurs I've noticed, they don't do that, or even just take it back. Not even taxes, like how we talked about PayPal. It's a PayPal fee that should be included in your pricing. So if I forget the percentage, but, like, make sure that, like, if you're charging $200, that your prices reflect that you're getting $200, not $200 minus that fee. Yeah, definitely agree. Because that fee, if the fee changes, it depends on how much you're charging, honestly. Because I know when I was first starting out and everything, let's say I started a client, just throwing a number, like $600, I would probably get back like $580. What? Yeah, it's like the more you charge, the more their fee goes. So it's kind of like really, really hard. So you got to kind of charge $25 extra no matter what it is. Yeah. That percentage is crazy. Like my cousin, we live together. So this isn't even just business, but we live together, and so she sent me like her rent payment, but I told her just send it to my PayPal that's connected to my personal account. And I think so the payment she sent was maybe like $800, $800 something, and I only got like $720 something. I was like, wait a minute, like this is for a bill. Like this is crazy. I don't use PayPal for business, so I didn't even realize that PayPal took all of that money out of it. Like that is crazy.
Yeah, and honestly, I think too is because like PayPal is so popular now, and like I guess people maybe the PayPal office they feel like, oh, y'all can't replace us, so we're gonna do whatever we want to do. Who knows? But that's definitely something that you should keep in mind with pricing. And also, I'm really old school. Like I write everything down, down. So even when it comes to like your pricing, look up your sales tax in whatever state that you are in. Some other states have really like strange other small miscellaneous local taxes. So look into that as well. And just put, like you said, like the cost of goods sold instead of accounting term. Write all of that out. And then see like if it costs you like $1,500, that's kind of far fetched or whatever. Like $1,500 to do this service, you should be charging this much to make your desired profit. Just write it out and just see everything big picture wise.
Absolutely. And so this is kind of like unrelated, but I want to ask before I forget, based off of your experience with small businesses, entrepreneurs, what do you think that entrepreneurs spend the most money on unnecessarily? Because I feel like you have two types of entrepreneurs. You have the people who are super duper cheap and don't want to pay anything or invest in themselves at all. Then you have the ones who invest in everything. Like they like, this is an investment, this is an investment, and they're not smart about how they're spending their money. Because me, I would rather spend less on, let's say, networking. So I'll take you to coffee instead of lunch and only spend a couple dollars, but I'll pay $4,000 for a coaching program because I want to grow my business. But some people, it's just either one side of the extreme or the other. So what are some things that you see that people spend a lot of money on unnecessarily?
Honestly, I would say travel. That's a lot because I see like, like you're going to, let's say you're going to D.C. for this networking event and you live in Atlanta and you're going like twice a month. But you're just going just to network. You're not really making any money. But you're buying flights. You're taking Uber all around the city. Like that stuff like that adds up. Your opportunities are great, but we have to travel with like some kind of cautious mindset of like, okay, yes, I'm going here, but what am I actually like getting from the experience? Like how is this benefiting me, and is it worth it to come here this many times? I know someone who like literally like they're bouncing around the country like to different events, but like you're not really getting anything out of it. You're just spending money to basically travel. It's not benefiting your business anyway. So you kind of have to be mindful. Like, yeah, this is like a great idea. It's a great opportunity, but like pick your top 3 opportunities and just narrow it down. Nothing wrong with networking and going out and meeting people and doing different things, but like you have to do everything cautiously and mindful of how you're actually spending your money.
Yeah,
travel and meals and entertainment. People love to throw every meal into meals and entertainment. Like I went to Chick-fil-A, I went to here, meals and entertainment. Like, come on, girl, come on, sis. But yeah, you shouldn't be spending like $300 a month in food.
That's just ridiculous.
Listen, that's slight word for some people that I know. Because, eating, honestly, like, our generation is just an eating out generation. I don't know what it is, but, like, people love to be social, go to brunch, do this and the third. And honestly, your, like, personal lifestyle kind of would transcend into your business aspect without you even, like, really being cognizant of it.
Yeah, that's so true. So you guys, you can drive. You better do like your grandma did back in the day. When she made them sandwiches or fried some chicken for y'all to eat on the road. You better do what you gotta do to save that money. Go to the grocery store. Like I do that because I'm trying to get better with eating out. Like, I cook all the time, but I'm the type where if I eat out, I'm not cheap about it. Because if I'm gonna eat out, then I'm just gonna eat what I want. I'm not gonna be ordering an appetizer and trying to make it stretch. Like, I don't really like operate like that. So now, knowing myself, before I go out, I'll just like eat first. So I'm not even that hungry or tempted to get a filet. I could actually get a salad because I'm not that hungry and end up saving money. So yeah,
that's smart. That's really
figure
smart.
out the stove. What'd you say?
That's really smart. Let's have to try that.
Girl,
I go to a restaurant hungry and get an appetizer, a drink, a main entree, a dessert.
See, I know me, so if I go out, wine is getting ordered, period. So I'm already factoring in like a good $8 to $12 for a glass of wine. I got to double that if I decide to do two. So it's like, let me make sure I eat before I leave so I can enjoy my little things that I like to enjoy.
See, all about the sacrifices and priorities. That's all. 2 key words.
Exactly. So let's talk about tax preparation for a little bit. So can you talk to them or talk to us about the difference between filing your business taxes and filing your personal taxes? Because people with 9 to 5, I mean, we're used to I get my W-2, I go to H&R Block or Liberty Tax or wherever.
Yeah, and that's it.
And
girl, I have a personal story. Yes, like this is the first time like I started my management company like I created it like sometime last year. So when I did my taxes, like I'm used to like I have 9 to 5, I got my 1040. I do my taxes myself. So I open the H&R 1040 easy. I'm thinking everything is cool, copacetic. And I have my forms. I'm like, wait, they haven't asked me. This isn't right. Come to find out, you can't do, when you have businesses and everything else, you can't just log on to H&R Block and do a 1040 easy. It don't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. Like, it's a whole different preparation period. Like, just it's a whole different experience. And once you create this company, honestly, like a person, I just say go to someone. Like, if you don't know anything about accounting or taxes or anything, go to someone other than, honestly, you can go to H&R Block, but you would need to talk to someone. Like, you would have to say, like, hey, like, I have this LLC as well. They're going to, like, I'm going to warn you now, the pricing is going to be night and day from your 1040 in your, like, with just your, like, 9 to 5 income as opposed to your 1040 with all of your extra schedules and all the extra paperwork that comes along with, owning a company.
Mm-hmm.
So the best advice I would give is, like, to ask someone and to get help early, and don't be ashamed to ask someone for help. Because some people, like, we live in, like, I can do everything, like, I can do everything myself, everything's in-house, and you're filing your return on, TurboTax, business or whatever, but you're not doing it correctly. And like we said at the beginning of the show, like, I don't play with the IRS. That's one person I don't want no issues with them. I'm always very skeptical. Like, I don't want no problem. So if you're not sure and you don't know, just ask someone. Like, you can look up. I know QuickBooks has a tab in it where you can actually search for, like, tax preparers.
Mhm.
So if you're certified with QuickBooks and you're certified, like, it's a separate amendment that they have where you can search people who are actually, like, licensed or qualified to actually prepare taxes as well, if you want to go that way. But just look at it as it's a lot more serious than just filing, like, your own personal return, which are just your W-2s. Like, it's a lot more.
So how much are accountants? Because I know when it comes to people, when they want to start their businesses, there's certain things that they know they have to do. They have to get their LLCs. They have to get any licenses depending on what their business is. They know they have to do, like, their marketing and stuff like that. But a lot of times finding an accountant is, like, swept under the rug. And then they only start looking for an accountant later on down the line when it's time to clean up some mistakes. So how much should people be setting aside to actually prepare for their business for the accounting side? Is it like a monthly retainer. I know the woman that I use is a monthly retainer, and she's one of those non-negotiable fees at this point for me. It's like I can't not have an accountant. And thank God my boyfriend's a CPA, so push come to shove, you know, I can
there you go.
But still, like, I have to have this accountant. Like, it's just a non-negotiable. So how much should people be putting to the side for that business expense?
That is one amount I can say that truly prices will vary, because it's a wide range. Because if you go to, like, let's just say you go to like a Big Four accounting firm, you're looking at the billing hours for like the employees are like $150 an hour. An hour, like, it can add up. But if you find someone who has, like, you know, a smaller firm or a smaller setup going on, they help people in different ways. Like, some people just do taxes, some people just do bookkeeping. Just looking around, looking for resources, it can just vary. Like, you just don't know. Some people, you know, like you said, are non-negotiable, like set rate. This is what I do for you. But some people, you can talk to them and kind of customize it to what you want, and they can kind of work with you. It just depends on, like, the actual account that you're reaching out to. But I do think it's like I think it's a very, 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 very important thing to have or to keep in mind when you're starting your business, because a lot of people do forget about that. Like, they just throw that, like, whatever, like, I got to be making money. But no, you need an accountant, like, honestly, day one.
Right. And in our community, money is such a taboo subject. So I think a lot of it is you don't want nobody all up in your business for real like that. Like, to the point where they know how much you're making. They know how much you're, like, they know all of your stuff. Like, you might as well give them your Social Security number, your birth certificate, because they know, like, they have access to everything that you have going on financially in your business. So it can definitely be a thing where it's like you don't know who to trust with that much information. So what do you suggest are some things that people should look for as far as choosing an accountant? Oh, on top, not even just with the money part, but just some professional traits that people should really look for.
Number one, I guess, you know, to be the first thing is, like, someone with an accounting background. Like, an accounting degree. That's important. Like you said, your boyfriend is a CPA. You can find a CPA. But when it comes, like, somebody that you trust, sometimes you just vibe with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just kind of have that, like, once you start working with people and the more you work with them, the more comfortable you become. So you trust them more. Because like you said earlier, like, our community, like, you know, we want everybody at our business. And once I feel like you create that, like, bond with somebody, like, you can really rock with them and trust them with, like, okay, well, I feel comfortable telling you that I make this much a month. It's pretty much, you know, a working relationship from there. But it's really hard. Like you said, like, it's hard to find that. And I don't think it's something that, like, it's not just a checkbox that you can find. You know, like, it's not like somebody like, hey, like, I'm either going to trust you or I'm not. But finding somebody who's credible, I think, is the number one thing when you're reaching out and you meet somebody. Like, hey, like, I'm an accountant, but, like, okay, so, you know, where'd you go to school? Are you a CPA? Blah, blah, blah. And once you figure that out, it's just strictly, I feel like, connection. Like, how do you feel comfortable with that person? Because some people, like, you can tell if the vibe is off when you meet somebody. Like, you ever met somebody who's like, yeah, like, it's just something about you I just can't really rock with. You can get that vibe from people. Yeah. I think that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I agree. And then checking those references, who else have they worked with? You know what I mean? And I prefer to just go through people who know somebody. Like, if I know that my friend is an entrepreneur, I'm going to ask her, like, who's your accountant? Like, I would prefer to have some type of mutual connection. Like LinkedIn, where you can't add nobody if y'all don't have a mutual connection. I don't want to work with anybody, especially something as personal as this, without having some type of mutual connection.
Yeah, and that's a really good way to find someone. You just ask like a friend or somebody that you know, because you'll be surprised. Like, that's the best when it comes to, like, your business. I feel like references are, like, your number one, like, waves of new clients. It seems like.
Yep, that, like, testimonials, like, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, with service-based businesses, put your results out there, when it comes to your marketing. Put your results out there, your testimonials out there and stuff. Because like we're sitting here talking about, we wouldn't work with anybody that we don't trust. That's the same for all businesses. So it's definitely important to make sure you find people that you trust and you present yourself as a business owner as trustworthy. And I have one more question about taxes. This is my favorite question. What can we write off when it comes to entrepreneurship? Because I want to write off everything.
Girl,
what can we write off?
Everyone wants to write off everything. I'm trying, like I said, it's really case by case. I will say the number one deduction I think people forget about is if you have a home office.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that's like the number one thing that people they kind of let fall by the wayside. Mileage, business like mileage, startup expenses, like all the costs. Like if you're creating a company and like the money that you paid to form the LLC, if you had lawyers involved or anything, all of those costs can be deducted.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so interest income, you can deduct that. Some state taxes you can deduct. It's all case by case. It's all some I would say like your work wardrobe, to a certain extent, you can get a deduction for that.
I'm about to say, hold on now. These are ways.
Yeah, that's one. It's like the taxes are just so complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just so, and the deduction, it's just so complex, and it's like it's really one thing where like no one situation is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to keep that in mind too when like you're dealing with an accountant, like a tax professional. A lot of people get frustrated around tax time. Like, hey, like I heard so and so got this, he deducted blah blah this that, but like you don't know that person's circumstances. You don't know like he can have IRAs and retirement investments and all this other stuff that you don't have. So you always have to keep that in mind.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, y'all.
And if you want, sorry to cut you off, but like if you want, go to the IRS website and you can search, like you can see the deductions. And it gives, it's really boring to read, and it can go over your head, but like it would like give it. You can go to the IRS website, like it's a search tool at the top right hand corner, and you can just type in like itemized deductions, and it'll take you right there, and it'll give you like the exact. And the IRS website also can be kind of interactive, so people can ask questions for clarity, and you'll see like actual, like kind of like a comment section, kind of,
mm-hmm.
and you can see all of the responses and kind of get like a general understanding.
Gotcha. Okay, y'all. So I know y'all heard all that. So with your mileage and apps like it's an app called Mileage Q that you can track your mileage for. If you do decide to use QuickBooks, they have that. I'm sure FreshBooks has it as well. So if you drive, let's say say we record the podcast in person every Sunday, then that mileage is something that can be written off. If I had to speak somewhere and I bought a new outfit, that can be written off. Don't be trying to go buy Louis Vuittons and all these Chanel bags and all this stuff and write them off on your taxes. Don't do it.
Yes, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Not the same thing.
It's not the same.
So,
and that's like everything has to be done with discretion. Like it's not like you go to the mall and you spending like, $2,000. Like you can't deduct the whole $2,000. Like everything is with its rules and stipulations for all these deductions as well. Some people think that too. Like they think like I put all this money into my office, so I should be able to deduct all of this. But like no, it doesn't work like that. Let's bring it back. We wish it was that simple.
Right, I wish.
Okay.
So I do have a question, though, about the home office. So there are a lot of, like, co-working spaces out here right now. Can co-working spaces be written off? Because I think that their prices are way too high for a lot of them, which is why I don't really want to invest in one yet. But can people write that off? I'm just curious.
I don't believe so, because I know with the home office, it has to be in your home.
Okay.
Like, it has to be in your home, and, like, I know, like, to qualify, it has to be, like, it has to be, like, an actual home office.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not like a living room where you have, like, a desk. Like, it's like a legitimate home office. And I think, no, I'm not 100% certain on this, but one of the reasons why I made the deduction is because, think about the taxes and stuff that you already pay.
Mm-hmm.
The taxes and stuff that you already pay, like property tax and all that kind of stuff. I think maybe that has, like, maybe that's why they kind of give you that deduction. I'm not really sure. But I know, like, I don't believe you can deduct, like, those kind of office fees. But I'll look into that to be sure. I like to give sure answers.
Yeah,
I'll get back to you on that.
So with as much as these co-working spaces are, it'll probably be cheaper to get, like, an extra bedroom in your apartment and write that off as opposed to, you know, doing a whole $800 a month co-working space. Right? That's just me trying to be cheap. So
yeah, because it can really add up.
Exactly. So before we close out, I just wanted you to give, like, what are 3 tax tips if everybody listening didn't take away anything from this conversation? What are 3 things that you want them to remember when it comes to their taxes?
Okay. Number 1, keep good records. It saves you a lot of money and time in the long run. Number 2, I'm going to say stay on top of things. Don't let anything pile up. Like, if you know that you're running into an issue, don't wait until the tax deadline to go somewhere and think like, hey, I have this problem I need to solve. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really work like that. Like, you know you're running into a problem, you have an issue, combat it, like, right then and there. Because it only makes things a lot harder for yourself down the line and more expensive. Because if you go into a tax office April 15th and you have all of these complex whatever, like, they're going to, charge you an arm and a leg. Just keep that in mind. And lastly, this is the most important. If you don't take away anything else from this podcast, do not play with the IRS. Give them their money when they want it. Because playing with the IRS can lead you tax liens, jail. They can take your money. The IRS is just somebody. Just don't play with them. So yeah, and if you need help, ask someone. Go to somebody.
Exactly. So Dana, thank you so much for being on the show and talking to us about this tax situation, because this is something that is just, like you said, it can be so complicated. So thank you so much for breaking some things down for us. And before we let you go, I want you to give out your information for people to be able to reach out to you with their tax questions or to possibly work with you with their taxes.
Okay. I have a website up. It's under construction, but hey, it's www.distinctbusinessmanagement.com. The same for Instagram. That's distinctbusinessmanagement.com. You can find my personal IG. It's DanaMarie.S. Business goes down in DMs all the time. So if you have any questions, you want to work together, just send me a DM or email it's dmarie@distinctbusinessmanagement.com as well.
Yes, and so if y'all missed that, it's going to be in the show notes. So if you are listening on iTunes, then you can just click description. You'll be able to see all of her information there. If you're on SoundCloud, click description, and you'll be able to see all of that information there as well. So thanks again, Dana.
Thank you for having me. Taxes aren't really that exciting to talk about, but it's necessary.
I think we have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to know it, because if not, then they will be in the slum pits of jail with the IRS. So, yeah.
Okay, or like a ball alert or shade room because you ain't pay your tax.
Right. So whether it's born or not, they needed to know it. They need to stay here, and I hope that when it's time to file these taxes next year, they're more prepared than they were this year, because I know a lot of us struggled.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Okay, guys. That wraps up this week's episode of the Black Girl Boss Podcast. As usual, hit us up on the gram if you have any questions, or to follow us, or to see what we're up to at Black Girl Bosses.